Lionel. I'm your host, Felty Productions, and you are watching I Watch. Today we are covering Sistas on BET. This is season 10, and it is episode 1. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video, you can share it. Subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Welcome, 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 and you can leave your comments below. Let's get into this episode. All right, y'all, so the cat is out of the bag. First, it's the 10th season, so we celebrate that for Sistas for staying on this long and this longevity. The new head writer is Courtney Laude. I don't know what his last name, how to say it, or Glaude. Anyways, he's the showrunner for Zatima. But anyways, I've been enjoying his writing, so congratulations to Mr. Courtney on this 10th season. And also, we know that 2 cast members are gone since the cat is out of the bag. And that is Miss Ebony, who played Karen, and Miss Novi, who played Sabrina. For whatever reason, they're gone. I think that it's just possibly, I think that they were just ready to move on. 9 seasons in, their contract was up, and they was ready to go. Now, a lot of people are like, end it. I don't know if we should end it or not, since the original chemistry is not there, or the original girls aren't there. 2 new people have been hired. We did see one character tonight, and her name is Cheyenne, and she is going to be Andy's sister that we knew nothing about. But anyways, all I can say right now, well, first let me fuss, because why are y'all fussing? Because y'all have said how boring stuff has been on the show. It's redundant. Now remember, as I said before, the reason I even started rewatching the show, or start watching the show again, is because there was a new writing regimen. Mr. Tyler had given up the pen, at least on this show, and allowed others to write, and I wanted to see what they could do. A lot of y'all was mad because they ended up making the child, Karen's child, into Zach's, and then all of a sudden they had twins, and then Aaron got into it and all that. And then y'all said y'all better send that baby off to heaven. They did that. But I don't think that the writing was so bad. I think they had the difficult task, as I've said on this channel, of getting the show out of a hole that it was in. I think, what is it, season 6, season 7? There was a lot going on. I think what I will say, that there was just a lot of wasted time with Jordan and Penelope for it all to just go nowhere. Like, why did y'all bring them on just to ruin the characters in that way? That didn't make sense. I'll just say that much. People were upset that Gary took over the show. I always looked at it as the writers were allowing the other characters to rest, just to kind of reset them to do something else instead of what they've normally done. And a perfect way was to segue into a whodunit type of situation, plus allowed others just to focus on who actually did it. So I thought it was cool. You know, it was a cool transition. At this point, I think that there is another refresh since 2 of the actresses are gone. Another actress will be on pretty soon. And she is a dark-skinned chocolate lady. I don't know what the name, I didn't read as of yet, but she's going to be a totally new character, so we'll see what that's all about. Looks like Rich is still going to be staying around and looks to be involved with that new girl. So I'm still willing to give it a chance to see where they go. I know a lot of people are still upset, but whatever. But quit fussing for change, and then you get it and you don't want it. That's crazy. But y'all can leave me in the comments on, if you by chance got to this video, let me know if you're going to be watching this season. Are you open to just finding out what these writers can do with the story now? Let me know. Or if you just decided that, no, I can't do it anymore, let me know. All right, so we started off where we ended the season. We saw that Andy's car blew up. Fatima and Danny was trying to run to the car to see about Andy and all that. Zach was able to pull them back and say, no, we don't know what's going to happen. It could blow up again, In the next scene, we see that Andy has been kind of like blown over to the side, like in the grass or whatever. Mr. Keys did find her, and all that good stuff. Everyone else rushed over there, and then Rich got Fatima's back. Zach was like, what are you going to do with that bat? I think somebody else said it. I think Pam too, whatever. Now, Karen already left, which I thought she was just still standing there. But whatever. Contract was over. That was that on that. So anyways, she gets up and all that good stuff, and she's not in a good place right now. We go to the hospital. Someone has been rushed into the hospital, and we know that that is Sabrina. We don't see Miss Novi because she's not on the cast anymore, and you can tell that there's nobody on this bed stretcher, and all these actors have just got to act like that there's a body there. Back at is it Wilson? Not Wilson. At the Taylors, everybody's wondering where Sabrina's at. Nobody knows. Maurice gets a call from Paige saying, "Hey, Sabrina was supposed to be here to unlock the safe, and I need your help." Of course, Maurice is giving a difficult time because this is my day off, But she said, "Please, it's quite. I gotta have this to unlock my safe." Blah 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 blah. So he soon leaves. Danny did wonder also, where is Sabrina, because that's not like her either. Anyway, back at the house, while everyone is congregating in the Taylor's home, Fatima asked at some point in conversation to Mr. Keys, "You got anything that you want to say?" We're like, nope. Because remember, Fatima did eavesdrop on the conversation, or when she was on the balcony, Mr. Keys was talking about that he's the biological father of Zach. I don't know what's going on with this, but something in the buttermilk ain't clean. Something in there, because dude, you crazy, in my opinion, at how you tried to run this whole situation. But anyway, like, you came up with this whole elaborate story and making up all this. Oh, I was friends with with that's quite crazy to me. That Andy is still very much in shock, and she's trying to process all this. Andy's had a lot of trauma for a while. Remember last season she was dealing with trauma, and I wonder how this is going to impact the rest of the season for her, as to how her behavior may adapt to what's going on. And we see her having flashbacks of even the explosion happening, and they're trying to figure out what happened. Andy has kind of concluded that she thinks that this is Dr. Cruz sending a warning to back up off of her. I think so. I hope it's not another Gary thing, because if you went away, go away, stay away. We don't care about that. Unless Jasmine never did actually go on to her place, her place of judgment. I don't know, but we shall see in the coming weeks. At this point, Andy's mom is going to take Andy home. Danny leaves. She goes to her apartment. Maurice goes to the bank with the boyfriend. I'll remember at some point, but whatever. Maurice was able to find her keys that she thought was gone, or whatnot. So they were able to unlock the safe and all that good stuff. Of course, the customer's upset, talking about how unprofessional things are, Then Paige's brother ended up saying what happened at Zach's home. And then Paige, who had, if you want to call it, a slip up, but now I got to look at you crazy, Miss Paige. She was like, I don't know what's going on at your urban outing. That was just a microaggression, Miss Paige. But anyways, Maurice got her together really quick. I don't know if he's just trying to save face in front of his boyfriend or whatnot, but Paige, I know you're learning. Don't let that happen again. Don't let that happen again. Anyways, they leave there, and Maurice is very worried about Sabrina. She's not answering her calls and all that good stuff. They go up to the hospital, where Karen lost her baby, trying to get some information out of the nursing attendants and all that. They won't give it because of HIPAA. You got to be a close relative and all that good stuff. And one nurse is giving attitude, and the other one too, the white one too. So it's just like, okay. All of a sudden we see Officer Smalls. I'm gonna call him Officer Smalls, the one that Danny slept with. And Maurice recognizes him. The officer somewhat recognizes Maurice. And then he ends up saying, "Oh, you're the officer that was with Daniel." Because Maurice never gets Danny's name right and all that good stuff. So he talks about that there was a lady that came in from a car crash that's in critical condition. He doesn't know if they are going to make it or not. Of course, he's talking about Sabrina. Just Maurice doesn't know it yet. he asks, what can he do about his friend that's been missing? Is there a way that I can call? I guess I gotta wait a while to report someone missing, right? He said, no, you can call. I don't know what the rules are about that, but I know that they gotta be missing for a certain length of time before you can say that they're missing or whatever. But he was just saying that this is not how Sabrina usually acts. She's not irresponsible like that, and she would be in contact with us, and even if something had happened or whatnot. But anyways, the officer said that he'll keep his eye open, and also he said, I'll probably get an update from Danny, and Maurice was like, oh really? So it's like that. I guess it's like that. Danny, are you done with this officer or not? Because I don't know. I'm hearing that he's going to be showing his true colors, so let's see what's up with that. Back at the Taylors, Zach has a conversation with Fatima. He is worried about Fatima and wants to make sure that she's going to be okay. Fatima, he's like, let me be the man. Meaning to protect and all that good stuff. And Fatima says, I don't really rock like that. I think that I'm on this mutual page of us having each other's back. I don't need a savior like that. And you gotta respect that. Maybe that's why she acts the way that she acts on Zatima. She took forever to even say anything about her friend. That's really cuckoo, like on the latest season. But anyways, we're ready for Zatima to come back, BET Plus, but I know it's gonna take a while. But anyway, he was like, I want you to go stay at your parents' house. And she's like, well, what is that gonna do? If he gonna find me, he gonna find me. Then you gotta involve your parents in something that they didn't ask for. She didn't say that, but when you think about it, look, we're gonna be better together. Zach flips the conversation into sex, and they go up there and have sex with some chicken wings and all that. Fatima's getting a lot more comedy, and I'm glad for a fresh restart. She started getting more comedy even on Zatima this past season. Let's make a little funny things about her being pregnant. This is not the normal Fatima that we're used to, so I say, hey, I welcome it. I welcome it all. Danny, she goes home and takes a shower. Of course, with the last we seen her, she had on braids. But I guess Danny got inches. I'll just leave it like that. So anyway, she gets a knock at the door, and it's Tony. Tony is ready to have a conversation. Danny wants to say, hey, look, I'm sorry for what I did. I should not have done that. Da-da-da-da-da. We both did screw up. You did steal from me. Tony's trying to hang on, trying to say, I borrowed money. Borrowing $10,000 without telling them is stealing. You can't just create your own boundaries, especially when you know how your girl is. And whatever you got going on, I don't know if you got an addiction, but at least at that moment, you did make a dumb decision, and you decided to steal from your girlfriend. That is a form of betrayal, and I understand that cheating can be deemed as something very bad. And I'm not excusing cheating or whatever, but sex, cheating is a betrayal, stealing is a betrayal. And you could get your arse beat whether you're stealing or not. Stealing or cheating. So it's just like, Tony, you have put her through things before. Not like cheating. If you just think that betraying someone, and I think that's more of an ego thing with you, but I think you need to come to the place. Danny, she says, I feel horrible for what I've done. Now, a lot of times, Danny will put up this deflection or whatever to protect how she really should go about certain situations. If Danny's apologizing, let's just take it, I feel like, take it for what it is. I'm not saying it's right or whatnot. Let's see if we can work through stuff. Tony wasn't really feeling it because he just thinks that cheating is the ultimate betrayal. But anyway, she gets a call. First, Maurice is at home with his boyfriend. I forgot his name. Does it start with a G? No, not Gary. But whatever his name is. He gets a call. Paige calls him and says, hey, somebody came in with Sabrina's ID and all that, and she's been in a terrible accident. This freezes Maurice because he's in shock also. Now thinking about his friend who's in a terrible situation. He calls Danny, and at that point, everything just halts. Danny gets herself together. Tony goes up to the hospital with her. Maurice is already sitting there, and he's in the shock right now. He's just kind of just frozen. His boyfriend had tried to comfort him. He didn't like try to shield him or whatever. It's just the boyfriend tried to be there for him. Danny was trying to get up out of him that Sabrina's in this terrible car accident. He finally got it together to say what was up. Then, now this really pisses me off. Andy and her mom gets back to her place. Andy finds out that there's an intruder in her home. It's actually her sister, Cheyenne, which is also Andy's mama's daughter. Andy's mama's daughter had the audacity to invite Cheyenne into the home. Cheyenne got on one of Andy's bathrobes and all that good stuff. She kind of reminds me of Lynn from Girlfriends. Anyways, Andy and Cheyenne don't get along. And she's trying to figure out, why did you invite her? This mama decided to use her whole cancer thing. I need both of my daughters here, while I go through chemotherapy. You can't first barge into two people's lives. Okay, cool, they don't get along. You just can't just insist somebody just stay in somebody's place. Later on, she says, where are you staying at? She'll be staying here. This is not your place. This is not your house. And I don't like that. You are quite manipulative, ma'am. And I'm ready for Andy to really go off on you, but I know that she won't go off on you because now you got cancer and you're going to use that to your advantage. And I don't like the predicament that you put your daughter in. That's not a mother. That's not a mother whatsoever. And I need you to get it together, ma'am, because this is not right. So Andy gets the call also. And she gets up to the hospital. Soon, Zach and Fatima, they're up there also. And then next thing you know, they hear a code blue. And that was the end of the episode. And they think that that is Sabrina. Do y'all think that this is the end of Sabrina's life? Or do you think that she'll just be in a coma? She's already in a coma right now. I kind of think that it's open-ended for Novi, at least for Sabrina. Sabrina, the character. I think that they're going to preserve it, the character, and probably ship her off someplace so that she can get better, in my opinion. I don't know if Novi's going to come back at some point or not. But anyways, would you be open for Sabrina recast? Y'all let me know that also. And, or should just the character go on and just to glory? I just really think that Sabrina's not going to go on to glory. I think they're just going to give Sabrina a rest for now, I think. Maybe Sabrina will have some type of different personality if she ever wakes up and gets better. She can come back while Rich and this new girl are in the thick of it. I don't know. Just thinking. But anyways, y'all let me know how you thought of this first episode. And again, anything that you're thinking about season 10, let me know. And if you like this new reset or what, you know. I do appreciate everyone for coming. Like, comment, subscribe. And until the next one, peace.